Hi, friends. Host Eric here, talking with Facebook. I got some sleep last night. Got a pretty decent night's sleep, about 6 hours or so. Not great, but not impossibly little sleep. And I woke up this morning. We've gone back to bed, but it's raining a bit outside, and Pee-Pee, once she came inside, she was all wet, and then she wanted to get in bed and push up against my face and stuff, And wet kitty pushing against your face enough is going to wake you up. It just is. You're just not going to be able to continue sleeping when you have a wet cat pushing itself against your face. No, Pee-Pee, you're wet. She doesn't care. This video is called Learning and Stubbornness. So, today's a new day. Hopefully, new topics of videos and stuff. But we will have to make sure, obviously, that Becky has learned something and is not excessively stubborn, so that she does not respond to me mentioning her in a video by emailing my father. I'm only stubborn when I'm right. Now, the thing is, what makes stubbornness FI is that it's stubborn. What makes something stubborn is that it's wrong, but clinging to its wrongness. That's stubbornness. Nothing stubborn about being right and insisting you're right. That's just being right. For somebody who's right, they shouldn't ever have to change their position. But for somebody who's wrong and behaving badly, then if they insist on persisting in that, doubling down and so forth, they're being FI stubborn. So, it's like the first thing we should do in a situation like that is parse it out with a TI. Who's right? Who's wrong? Well, in this instance, I'm right. She's wrong. Then we see if she's capable of hearing, listening, and learning. Because, she's indicated to me on multiple occasions she wants me to stop talking about her. That's best accomplished by her never again contacting my father or me or any of my family members. If she really wants that outcome, she won't respond to this with an email. If she doesn't really want that outcome, she will respond to this with an email. And we'll learn today whether, pretty much, yeah, I love her for us. But, you can see circumstances where she's got TI tool, but she's not learned to be honest. So, Anyway, let's talk about different things. I don't want to hammer any more on this subject, and I do need to talk about it some today on a few occasions to make sure that she's learned. And that she's accepted the loss here and has learned something. That's bad personality development. Well, look, the thing is, of course, what TI gets is being correct. What FI gets is feeling the value of things. So it's like Cloud. You really understand and feel the value of things. But in exchange for that, you have to be wrong most of the time. It's just how it is. The reason you can be so persistent in your belief is because you don't care if it's right or wrong. That's okay. Pretty much constantly, Cloud. Just about everything you say is wrong. I don't know what else to tell you, but that's the truth. Yeah, I will talk a little bit about FI in the fourth slot and Kurt Jason Blood. My dad has FI in the fourth slot. And the great thing about it is, of course, he's not using TI to parse those emails that he's receiving. So most of his emails are just ways that Becky is trying to harm me, right? Technically, supposedly, these emails are about stopping me from talking about her anymore. But she doesn't want that because otherwise she wouldn't fill the email full of irrelevant stuff about me doing drugs, me getting drugs from Delilah, me fighting with Kimberly, a bunch of irrelevant shit. She's just trying to get me to look bad. But my dad doesn't even look at that part of the email. Certainly doesn't check any of her links. He just goes, who's this crazy woman trying to sue me? It's like in the last email she said, I want to stress, I'm not trying to sue you. I'm just suing Eric, but you'll be financially responsible. Well, okay, if you're just suing me, how would he possibly be financially responsible for anything? Even if you were to win your ridiculous nonsense case that you'll never win in a billion years. TE's for logistics, Cloud. You're right, it's not for emotional intelligence, but TI is not for logistics. But that's a textbook TI polar move. Taking logic for logistics. Psychopaths aren't always right. No, so the thing about it is this. The reason, Cloud, that you are both right and wrong in this instance is it's true when you go out into the world and interact with real people and go out and do shit and everything, the TI doesn't really matter very much. That life's just important. Unfortunately, the only way I'm interacting with you, Cloud, is here, where TI is hugely important. So that's what makes you wrong all the time. You're not in a good environment for yourself, basically. You say, I'm limited by words. This is a word environment. So as a consequence, your TI polar really doesn't serve you well in this environment. It makes you seem wrong a lot, not very smart a lot and stuff, You're right, Cloud. I can't TI my relationships. And it is important to have emotional intelligence. Not in this environment here, though. In this live stream, that's not very important. And the things that are important here, you are totally lacking, which is why you're so antagonistic. Because this is an idea environment, I mean, I guess I'd be a lot more successful if everyone were the same in this environment. I'm not asking you to leave. I'm not telling you shouldn't be here. I'm not saying you're useless or not refreshing or not entertaining. I'm just telling you this is why you have so much trouble here. This is why you struggle to figure out, hey, I said an argument. Why don't they respond to me like they respond to that other argument? Well, because you're not actually saying arguments. You're just FIing, which is fine. You're welcome here to FI. But I'm just trying to explain when you run into problems with being wrong and yeah, then that's why, Okay, well, I don't care about your feelings, though, Colin. I'm not talking about your feelings. Yeah, I don't care about your feelings at all. That's obviously stupid. I wouldn't care about that. I'm not saying you feel things. I would never make the argument that, Cloud, you feel, yeah. I don't care what you feel, obviously. I didn't think you were in trouble either. Nobody said you were in trouble. I said you have trouble here. A lot of times. That's true. You have trouble because you get frustrated because you say some bullshit and you can't substantiate. And I'm saying this environment is one that is going to probably frustrate you. You do get frustrated. You do. A lot of times, Cloud. We all know that. Yeah, I'm 7th slot FI. So when somebody wants to play FI with me, I'll usually be like baffled first. Like, what? You thought I thought about your feelings? No, that's not relevant to anything. Why would I think about that? That's my first response to it. And then if somebody insists on pushing FI, I'll probably start countervaluing it directly and be like, your feelings do not matter. You can take your feelings and shove them up the ass. Like that, Well, you actually respect FI, which is why you can't ever stop deliberating. Because not only does it have to validate on TI, it also needs to include all the any possibilities. It should also validate on NI in the sixth, and it needs to validate on FI, which is complete mush, so you never get done deliberating. You're just like, well, there's still more deliberative factors to consider. Whereas I go, fuck my feelings, let's get shit done. No, it's, yeah. See, Cloud, this is what it means to be a TI polar. Cloud thinks that thinking and feeling are the same thing. No, Cloud, they're not. I mean, words matter, mean distinct things, but if you're an ESFP, they don't. My thinking is a result of my feeling, and vice versa. So, wait, hold on a second. Your feelings cause your thinking after they've been caused by your thinking? What? That doesn't make any sense. What proved to be accurate? That feeling is both the cause and consequence of thinking? No, it's not, obviously. Sorry. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. It's both the cause and the consequence of thinking. Yeah, I know. I know. Shiny stuff does make them happy. And that's good, because someone needs to be entertained by shiny stuff. Otherwise, the shiny stuff industry would suffer. And we don't want that. Never forget about the fluff. Well, okay, Cloud. The reality about emotions and logic is that emotions precede logic. So it may be true for sure that your emotions direct and aim what logic you have. It's not true that logical conclusions have motivations. So the fact that you mistake your FI for logic again is to be expected if you're polar, TI polar, you know? Well, I know you think that because you don't think words mean anything or matter at all. So, you know, all you do is win. You always win. Congratulations, winner. Okay, but your values aren't your FI. You're mistaking TI for FI. You're just all over the place about TI and FI. You can't tell them apart. INTPs are stubborn. INFPs are way more stubborn. I know. INFPs are impossibly stubborn. So are ISFPs if you hit one of their spots of stubbornness. ESFPs aren't usually that stubborn because they don't think words matter at all. So it's like they don't care if they make no sense. Yeah, you do not want to get with a stubborn ass INFP. FI is a primitive form of cognition that maybe we share with other primates. Okay, so look, here's the thing about FI. FI is part of a logic It's part of a TE-FI logic. The FI provides the directionality, the TE provides the navigation. So it's not more primitive, it's one angle of looking at the world. I know either where I'm going or how to get there. That's one way of looking at it. That's TE-FI. The other way of looking at it is I know what's been said and how it's going to play. So it's either I know where I'm going and how to get there, or I know where I'm going and how to get there in words, about words. So it's like ignorant. Is somebody being ignorant? No ignorance allowed around here, please. I mean, look, Cloud, you got to understand something. First of all, you've got to be my absolute favorite ESFP. All right, let me just say that right off the bat. So do not think that I don't like you. I do like you. I have to work today, which is fun. Sunday's a work day for me. Anyway, I do like you, Cloud. You are probably, as far as I can tell, my favorite ESFP. And it's also the case that people are not going to think. No, I'm saying your feelings are irrelevant to me. That doesn't necessarily mean my feelings are irrelevant to you. This is what I'm talking about, Cloud. This is what I'm talking about. This is the TI polar thing. I say your feelings are irrelevant to me. Then I tell you how I feel about you, and you think I've contradicted myself. I haven't. Okay? So you do engage me a lot, which is what makes you probably my favorite ESFP, you know? But you have to understand that obviously nobody is going to take you very seriously as a thinker if your primary core point is words don't matter. I mean, it's just how it is. It's like, it's fine. You know, you don't have to be a big thinker. You can be an ESFP. There's nothing wrong with that. You were correct about how your emotional intelligence is important, about how FI is hugely important for relationships. That's why I have had, until Rachel, a long series of being with just totally random people that I didn't think it mattered if I liked them or not, you know? Right. So, Cloud, because you think that, then, I mean, actually, that's totally false, Cloud. Truth is a status we afford to statements. That's what it is. So you couldn't be wronger, but that's okay. You be wrong. I know it doesn't matter to you, right? And that's fine. What you're talking about when you say truth there, you mean you need to know the course of action? You know, you need to know where you're going or how to get there. FI or TE. You keep translating everything to FI or TE. There, you mean you need to know the course of action? You know, you need to know where you're going or how to get there. FI or TE. You keep translating everything to FI or TE. You know? He's not dumb. That's what we're trying to get across here, Cloud. You're not dumb, but you're also not in an environment where you're going to get a lot of respect for your intellect, because intellectual stuff is done in words, and you explicitly don't think words matter. I mean, I'm trying to mix as well as I can with Cloud, but, you know, this kind of stuff, it's hard sometimes. He doesn't want to accept who he is, basically. So I don't know what to do about that. lots of things that don't collapse down into binary symbols. Lots of things don't. There are two kinds of things in the world. There are things that are sliding scale or spectrum, and things that are binary or definitional. Now, words have both sliding scale and binary shit, and real life does too. But remember, whenever we're talking about shit in real life and stuff, we're using the language communicative frame of reference. We're not using the experiential frame of reference. And so one of the challenges people have is being able to distinguish between a symbol for a process, a correlate for a process, analysis of a process, or manifesting a process itself. They don't understand the distinction between those things. And if you're not making those distinctions, then you can't do any kind of process analysis that's effective. If you can't make the distinction between what a process is, what a yeah. Okay, Cloud, but see, here's the difference between what you're doing and I'm doing. So I'm saying you have your appropriate domain for FI, and there's an appropriate domain for TI. And you're saying TI is shady and FI is great. Now, that's why people get frustrated with you. You're not doing any kind of meaningful conversation about anything because, again, you don't think words matter. So why you would be here banging your head against the wall trying to converse with people who are using words much differently than you use them? You're an ESFP, so you do what you want to do, Something you're an expert in? Learning and stubbornness, FI. Well, I see FI polar people, when they let their FI drive their behavior and decision making, make terrible decisions, as evidenced by, our Canadian friend. I'm certain an FI Dom type wouldn't do something like that, because the thing is, ENTPs make poor decisions when they let their feelings direct their behavior. So you might say, well, I felt strongly yesterday that I needed to hold Becky to account and all that kind of stuff, right? I needed to make sure that she had learned a lesson. And the lesson I needed her to learn was she can't have her cake and eat it too. If she really wants me to stop talking about her, she needs to stop emailing my father. And every time I told her that, she emailed him again. She might email him after this video this morning. She might go like, Eric's talking about me again. I'm going to email his father again. She needs to not do that. That's why I'm talking about her again. In part, is to make sure she's learned something that is no longer being stubborn. If she lets her FI drive her decision-making again today, we're going to have a repeat of yesterday. Of course, it'll get ever more ridiculous as she continues to send email after email with more inflated bullshit about me and more ridiculous threats that she can't even begin to hope to dream to start to initiate following through on. So hopefully she has learned something and is not being stubborn today and has got her head hung low and is not going to follow up this video with an email. It's going to just sit there with her, sit on her hands, wait a couple of days for this whole thing to blow over, and then I'll stop talking about her. And that's what she needs to do. Was she capable of it? We'll see. FI polar is trouble. If you hit somebody in their FI too much of their polar, you can really end up having problems with them because they don't understand what terrible decisions they're making necessarily. That's why I try to always articulate the truth to Becky, but she is really in her FI on this shit. So please express my regrets to your father for his inadvertent participation in our community. It's not fair to go after our elderly parents or children like Cloud. All right. I may have had, hey, listen, Winston's mom, I sided that as you teasing me, frankly. I saw that as you checking my ass and being like, all right, look, Cloud, I gotta tell you something. I gotta admit something, Cloud. I had a little bit of kick the dog syndrome here this morning. Kick the dog syndrome is the thing where I know I would never kick a dog, actually, but you know, I'm obviously upset about yesterday a little bit, and I kind of took it out on you here, Cloud, because I just felt like powering somebody. I guess I'm sorry about that. I could have gotten a little gentler on you this morning, probably. It's not your fault that all of that shit that happened. So I don't. You know what happened yesterday? Oh. Canadian Magoo decided to go bonkers. Oh, well, sure, fine. I don't care, Clown. I don't hate people that mean little to me. Yeah, I don't hate people that mean little to me either. I don't really hate anybody. Well, actually, the person I probably dislike more than anybody else in the world I can think of is Spacey's girlfriend, who commented again a few days ago with her spiteful, hateful comments. And doesn't seem to ever learn anything. Talk about a lack of learning and infinite stubbornness. And just a complete disregard for, disinterest in, and almost contempt for anything bearing resemblance to the truth. But I do strongly dislike that one. That one person is like, wow, that's toxic. That's just a toxic bin of toxicity. And I feel for poor Spacey, but yeah. You think host Eric's on a bad path and you feel bad for that? I mean, don't cry for me, Argentina? Oh, well, then you're just talking at your ass. Really? Than I am now? You're just talking at your ass. Right, Cloud? This is where you don't look good again. Right? You look dumb. Because obviously I'm on a much better path now than I was as my life was falling apart around me when I was with Kimberly. So you're just either clowning, being spiteful, I don't know, or just there's that. Who knows? Why is she so negative, Cloud? Well, Cloud has, I think, Cloud would like to establish his intellectual fortitude. And it might very be possible for him to do that, but this is not the environment where he'll ever succeed at that because he's TI polar. How long can you continue like this? You are so angry. I don't know how long can I continue with it. It will pass away in fairly short order, a day or two, provided Becky has learned something and lays low. That's it, In retrospect, what kind of relationships have you chosen up to this point in your life, and what was the logic behind it? Physical attraction is not enough for me. I kind of crave for empathy. What relationships have I chosen? I didn't choose any relationships. I just whatever chick was willing to get on me was my girlfriend now, basically. It's just incredible stupidity on my part. I mean, I don't know why I never considered whether I liked somebody as relevant and whether I wanted to be in a relationship with them, but I never did. Cloud's lean, mean, and full of hot steam. So, it's like my first wife was like, I couldn't have disliked her or found her less attractive in general. Didn't think it was relevant because I was looking for somebody to bear me a child, basically. But it's just, you talk about, Cloud's absolutely right here. When it comes to emotional intelligence, when it comes to being smart about picking relationship partners and stuff, I am Cloud in this live chat. Just throwing out random shit. I don't know. Feelings don't matter. Now I'm with Rachel, and it's perfect because this last time I actually did a little bit of shopping. I talked to a few different people. I tried out a couple of people. I talked to a chick that I didn't call back, So it took me to 48 to figure out the basics of relationships. What Taylor says, the most important thing in being in a relationship with somebody is be attracted to them, find them sexually attractive. That's critically necessary. Is it sufficient? No, but it's absolutely necessary. And after that, make sure you really like them and like to spend time with them and stuff, and are on the same page. Rachel and I are shockingly on the same page. We love spending time together. After yesterday's big blah, I chatted with her. We had laughs. We had a great time talking. She brings me back to the center and what matters and stuff. So yeah, it's great. And I agree, Cloud, that it's hugely important to be with the right person in life. That's just as important, if not more important, than TI in its dominion, in its range of importance. So it took me till I was 48 years old to make a good philological argument, FI, okay? It may take you till you're 48 years old, Cloud, to make a good TI argument. And that's okay. Because you are who you are. And, I'm quite confident we will see her online today. She was happy last night. We were laughing. She's running out of weed, though. So I think I need to buy some more weed for her and send it to her. I want to read this masculinity, femininity thing that somebody's writing about up here. It says, being feminine is a luxury only the most masculine men can achieve. I'm going to change your sentence a little bit, Cloud, but I like the basic sentiment of it. I would say being feminine is a luxury that masculinity allows one to indulge in. I think that's a better way of saying, but your central point is very good. Femininity is a luxury that masculinity allows a man to indulge in. So I can be very feminine sometimes, but nobody ever says I'm feminine or, thinks I'm homosexual or whatever. And the reason is because I have an awareness of my baseline presentation thing. Like, this is how I present when I'm flat. When I'm moist, I go either direction. I either get masculine because I'm pissed or something, or I get childlike, which is, I guess, feminine-ish. Like, I guess, like, deferential a little bit. If I'm feeling moist, I'm probably actively sort of caring about the people around me rather than so much the words. And so it's like, yesterday I was feeling pretty moist, and I spent a lot of time during the day listening to Cameron, sort of 4th slot NE with 2nd slot TE. And the consequence of that was just a general sense of like, Cameron would like to Yeah. Let me see if I can facilitate that. Like in other words, Cameron wants to tell me about blah 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 blah. Let me be a good listener and ask questions and stuff, even though it may not be exactly a topic that I would normally talk about. Like scooters, for example, electric scooters. Cameron likes to talk about electric scooters a lot. In fact, that's basically the subject of his YouTube channel. Those scooters that you go on and like downtown, you can put money into them by your phone and then you ride them around. So instead of just sort of conversation, like my kind of sometimes my instincts about that shit is like, oh my God, are we talking TE? I hate talking TE. No, I didn't do that. I said, oh, well, why is it that you don't use this thing? And well, how does that work differently from this thing? Just it's easy for me to find things that are interesting to me. So I just need to remember to look at those things, like take that angle instead of being any meowing, be TINing, which is hear first, listen first. TIFE. Why are you doing this for the other person, really? So let's see what they want out of this thing, and then any, rather than being so any first, because being any first means fundamentally going into the world as not exactly a leader, but definitely not a follower. So it's like, for example, when I was walking around in Hawaii with Rachel and my dad, if I see something, we're walking together, and I see something over there, I want to go look at it. Oh, I wonder what this is. And I just go walking off that direction. I don't expect them to follow me. I expect them to keep walking. In other words, I expect them to have no leadership, fellowship relationship with me while we're walking around, right? That I'm just going to wander off over there to see what this interesting thing is. And they're going to continue walking along, going wherever they're going, and I'll go catch up with them again, But they want like updates on that shit. Like, are we stopping? What? Are you going over there? You just do you and let me go look at this thing. It's interesting. There's a fence over here and I want to look over it. As far as repeating myself goes, I cover a lot of the same ground over and over again. Part of the advantage of being SI fourth is it doesn't feel necessarily as familiar as it would if you were SI dominant or something. That was interesting. So, as far as repeating myself goes, I repeat myself in terms of concepts, and I answer a lot of the same questions over and over again. Sometimes I get tired of answering the same questions, occasionally, but not so much generally, because the thing about extroverted intuition and fourth slot introvert sensing is I don't exactly remember how I answered it last time, but I do know what the gist of the answer is from an NI perspective. And as I'm answering the same question again this time, it's quite likely I'll encounter some sort of new insight about it because I'm not explaining it exactly the same way as before. And being an extroverted intuitor means sort of like always being on the lookout for something new and repetition, not wanting to repeat yourself. It is true what Winston Mom says is the exception to this is music. Music has the most replayability of anything in life, really, I think. Like, I could play the same song many times. I have played the same my own songs. Like, I play Destruction of the Whole Damn World. Most times I play the guitar for people. And each take of it is different from every other take of it. Some of them are a lot better than others. It's like, if I had perfect recording every time I played it, just perfectly set up mics and all that kind of shit, and it was all perfectly recorded, there would be somewhere a single particular take of it that was the ideal representation of the song, played live solo myself. So that's part of why music's so replayable, is that I can play that song 100 times and probably never quite get it right in any of those 100 times, or maybe just once, or maybe twice, and not be really entirely sure of exactly what right is for the song until I've played it 10,000 times. It's because it's the art of time. To conceive it and to understand it and know it is to metabolize the totality of a duration in a way that nothing else asks you to do. A sentence, paragraphs, and stuff, they don't have duration implicit to them. You can say the words faster or slower or whatever. Sure, you can play a song faster or slower, but you can't pause for arbitrary lengths of time in the middle of it, or it won't have any rhythm to it and it won't move, That's not true with language. It doesn't have to be precise in that fashion, time-wise. Which is why talking shit doesn't have the same kind of long-term resonance. It's because it's not a representation of the art of time. Even though it uses the same medium, sound waves, and frequency, it's not durationally specific. You can think of duration as occurring like the same way that perfect pitch and relative pitch occur. Music has to have perfect relative pitch to work well, which means if it's at 120 beats per minute, the drummer's got to be steady. But it doesn't need to have good perfect pitch, in the sense that it doesn't matter whether it's 120 or 121, really, Same difference, more or less. From an NI perspective, it does matter, and you got to play at as close to the exact right speed as you can. And as you get more and more familiar with the song, you start to learn what the right speed is from an NI perspective. Factoring all these different factors about the song, what's the right speed? Some songs don't have a right speed, and you can play them either fast or slow. Which is, I guess, to say, really not that they don't have a right speed, but that they have two right speeds, because there's more than one version of it. There's the slow way to play it and the fast way to play it. And they usually have a different swing to it, I love music. Music is the truest magic of the world. The most powerful magic of the world. It's like it's the soul of humanity. There's nothing in the world that makes me feel as tingly with divinity as music. I'm not a veteran, so I'm a veteran of many YouTube battles, but not a veteran of the military. I do have a great deal of respect for veterans. My father is a veteran. Thank you for your service, Winston's mom. I'm a patriot, I'm not a... There are segments of our population that disrespect institutions they associate with conservatism, for example, or institutions they associate with liberalism. I respect both the judiciary and the military. I don't. I think there is a Discord. Nobody uses it or something. I don't know. Somebody else set it up. We have still. I haven't gotten rid of them yet. But there's a Raw channel, the Raw Room, Raw Rooms, whereby.com/TWFP1/TWFP2, where people can chat up to 12 people in the room, video conference. I don't think I really like what that environment's become. Kind of a cesspool, I think. I mean, I don't really know. I haven't been in there, but I get a lot of toxicity emerging from there, I think. So a song represents a frozen moment in time. That's the thing. It doesn't represent a moment. It's a duration. It's like you can't know Mary Had a Little Lamb without knowing a whole, We come into contact with who we were at that moment in history, Mary Muller Schutan. That's such an SI perspective on music. Wow. That's so SI. That's so not correct. It's like it ignores all the NI shit about it. An NI person would say a song represents an entity that's a child of the human experience. And if it's true, it's a distinct entity that will never be mistaken for any other entity, and no other entity will be mistaken for it. An example of a distinct entity is she's an INFJ shaman. Are you sure she's not SI user? Anyway, it's an entity that is a representation of some resonant aspect of human experience that is distinct and exists as an entity. So, for example, White Christmas is not quantitatively different from Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's qualitatively different. It's different in its identity. And things that have identity but not attributes are time objects. A rock has an attribute but not an identity until we name it such. Is Rachel here? Oh, my beloved Rachel Lapalosa. I have been out all night collecting pollen to bring back to you in the hive here for you to make into honey. I've got some rosemary pollen. I've got some peach tree pollen. I've got some pia pollen. If I had to lose one, I would choose to lose sight. There's not really any even thought about it. I would choose to lose sight. Because I can't communicate with my eyes. Well, Fenty, I'm going to acknowledge, Rachel, that Fenty Deluxe, he's a pretty special ENFP. He loves me a lot. But no matter how much you love me, Fenty Deluxe, it is true that Rachel will always love me differently. What's the biggest difference between the INFP and ISFP that pops in your mind? Talkativeness and decisiveness. Like INFPs are demonstrably indecisive. These are the words of one of the greatest artists ever. If Leonardo da Vinci explained the Mona Lisa with words, the art would lose all significance. Correct. Just like if I danced about architecture, the dancing wouldn't mean anything. That's why we try to keep our things distinct in their respective domains, right? So, words are really important for a book, for example. If Leonardo da Vinci tried to explain a book with a sculpture, the art would lose all significance too. That's not a critique of words, Cloud. It's a critique of what you're doing, which is mushing domains together. ISFPs can't. You might say they're impulsive, but this is a person I wanted to take a picture of him. Okay, he had hiked up to where Cameron and I had ridden our bikes, and he had on it looked like a kind of a hippish, silkish kind of button down shirt. It was kind of a weird color of shiny blue, and like tight corduroy jeans on or whatever. And he was lying on the bridge has these like 4x4s basically that go along the edge. They're like the railings, but they're wide enough that you could lie on top of it. And he was lying there looking very much like some sort of male fragrance model or something, with his shirt unbuttoned, open for his chest, but not off of him, with his head back like this, and his arms, and the sun was on him, and his legs stretched out. And I just thought he was just like there, just so sort of flamboyantly sensing, I thought that guy's got to be an SFP. I wish I could just take a picture of him. And I didn't take a picture of him because, but that's SFP, right? That's an SFP who knows what they like, and they're out there doing it. They like being kind of flashy in their clothes a little bit, maybe probably an ESFP, and they like having a clear style. And he had kind of longish hair, I guess you might say. He was slightly gender bending. And you have no shame in the game, right? Like, it's what I want to do. I'm being me here on this bridge thing where people are walking by and I'm not even caring. I'm not looking at the people. FE don't matter to me. So, that's SFP. NFP talks about maybe going, you know what? This is how INFP goes. So ISFP is out there lying on the bridge in the sun with this weird outfit and all that stuff. INFP is at home, instant messaging her other INFP friend, talking about how hard it is to decide whether or not to go to this bridge and lie down there on the thing and maybe take some pictures. And maybe 3 weeks later, INFP goes someplace closer than that. That's not nearly what they really wanted exactly, but they aren't sure, and then they kind of change their mind halfway and go back home. That's INFP. Do you tend to feel more comfortable in friendships with the opposite sex than your own? No. I feel comfortable with both. I feel equally comfortable with both. They're different, I like hanging out with girls. I like talking with girls. And like this is an environment where I tend to spend a lot of time with a lot of girls. And when I hang out with Cameron, I like spending time with him. He's fun. And it's totally different. You know what? I mean, in general, dudes are different because there's a no nonsensiness between dudes when there's no girls around. It's like, buck up, buttercup, there's very little complaining allowed between men. Men do not let each other complain about shit, basically. Whereas women do a fair amount of complaining about shit. And nothing wrong with that because a lot of things need to be complained about. I do a fair amount of complaining about shit because, as has been mentioned before, I am pretty comfortable with my so-called feminine side. Like, I was comfortable yesterday when I was hanging out with Cameron, basically deferring to him all day long because he knew where he wanted to go bike riding. He was the one who suggested the bike ride. And I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. I like to ride my bike. Let's go, And so, but he knew where he wanted to go. And I knew I could rely on him to be the dude, basically. That I didn't really think about it, but I just sort of in the back of my head, I knew if I forget a water, he'll have water for me. If if I have a problem, he'll have a bike pump for me. And in fact, he did. You know, it's like I didn't need a bike pump, but he had water for me, and you know, we'd be riding, and I'd say, "I'm tired. Let's break." You know, it's I don't really have that relationship at all with anybody, so it's kind of refreshing for me to just sort of hand over the reins of to play introvert. I guess I kind of played introvert yesterday. Is what I did. I didn't talk a whole lot. I listened a lot. I just sort of followed his lead. I had fun. The only time I really took over the lead was when I started taking pictures of Mindy and stuff. You know, as soon as I'm making media, then of course, to the extent that he's going to be involved at all, he's going to be following my instructions because I'm not, you know, I'm making what I want to make, and I accept some good suggestions from him if he has some. He had a really good suggestion yesterday, actually. What was it? It's quite a good idea. Oh, wow. I mean, he is the one who brought a bag of, guess what? I couldn't believe he had these things. For Mindy and the gang. He's got this whole bag of little metal guns that he got from the vending machines at Rod's a long time ago. They're little metal, there's surprisingly little heavy metal gold and silver guns in these things. Like this, see? It's a silver one. And it's got a little hole. Well, obviously, these are just totally meant for Mindy and the gang. This is not Mindy. This is Hawaiian Mindy's. This is Hawaiian Mindy who got into a big fight with Mindy in Hawaii. Wendy is her name. She tried to sort of hose in on Mindy's business. So look, she's holding it kind of weird, but that's how good these guns are. So Cameron, that's his 4-slot NE, I think. It's like he's aware of Mindy's club, and he's aware that he knows what his resources are, right? That his girlfriend's got this bag of guns someplace. And so he's FI third. He gets satisfaction from making me happy. So he thinks to bring these guns for me to play with and leaves them with me. Do you want to leave those with you, Eric, so you can play with them? Yeah, I do want you to. Thank you, Cameron. You know, it's like, that's what I mean by, I feel like the girl in that relationship because, you know, I'm that way with Rachel, basically. It's like, I want Rachel to be happy. I want to find out what she wants so I can give it to her. And I want to find out what she'd like and stuff like that, you know? That's FI. But that, yeah, it's bringing tiny guns for my Mindy's Club guys. That is so considerate, right? That's such a nice friend. You know, Cameron and I get along great because we always know who's in charge. Depending on what kind of thing we're doing, one of us is in charge. And the other person, it's not like they ever talked about it all. It's just one of us takes the lead and one of us defers. And it's never the same thing that we're in charge of. It's like we don't cross each other's paths like that. What I want to defer on, he wants to lead on. What he wants to defer on, I want to lead on. So it's, you know, the thing is, I just like to defer about TE if there's somebody better at it. I'll demonstrate it if I'm with somebody who's worse at it than me. And if somebody's like an ESTJ, I'll probably get like fighty about it. Like, don't tell me what to do. But if it's an ISTJ, with their total lack of FE, it makes it really easy to defer to them about TE shit because you don't get the sense that they're trying to seize the frame, which I don't like when people do. That was the big fight. That was what caused big fights between Rachel's mom and me before we sort of patched things up, you know? the thing is, Rachel's mom wanted to come in and seize the frame in the conversation. And I wasn't going to let that shit happen. You know, it's like it immediately started. Problem with a lot of people, they have a huge ego and refuse to get help from somebody more qualified. It's a sad thing to watch. Cloud, you're the greatest, the strongest, and the richest? Really? It sounds like you need to have this playing on loop in your life, for your soundtrack for your life. And interestingly, amusingly, this song was made when Ken was teasing a guy who's probably an ESFP, and for the way that he talked. Okay, so the ESFP talks kind of like you, Cloud, and this is Ken imitating the ESFP. Oh, cool. Well, you got it wrong if it was a reference to my song, because it actually says, I'm the best, I'm rich, I'm the best, I'm the greatest. I don't watch Adventure Time. I think I've seen a little snippet of one or two of them. Rachel's mother made you go all protective, and the big silverback host Eric needed to pound his hairy chest. Yeah, exactly. You know, I tried to, when Rachel came out on a show like, I will fight for you. I am here to win all your battles because that's what I get to do. I can do that, you know. The thing I bring to a relationship is I can win any battle for the other person if they let me and want me to and invite me to, basically. As long as they're sort of right, at least. Some battles I can't win. You know, like I could have won Taylor's battle with the law, except he kept fucking up more. And at which point I just was like, there's nothing I can do anymore, dude. You eliminate, you fucked yourself up out of all of my arguments. So anyway, Rachel's mom and I get along great now, but I gave up a long time ago. Why did you give up? That's quitter attitude. Oh, thank you. Don't say you want to kill yourself, though. But I mean, saying thank you for disagreeing with the sentiment I gave up a long time ago. I agree. You should never. Oh, that. Yeah. Okay. In this regard, Cloud, you are correct. When it comes to SI stuff like that, like me recognizing my own shit and stuff, I can be a bit of a big dummy. That's true. So yeah, Better Call Saul. That Saul from that show. He's such an ENTP. He's such an ENTP. Like if you saw I mean, I haven't seen the show Better Call Saul, but I have seen all of Breaking Bad, and he's such an ENTP. A very amoral ENTP. 222 people watching this live stream in the middle of the desert on a single laptop with shitty Wi-Fi. Sounds like the worst party ever. 220 people watching this live stream on a single laptop with shitty Wi-Fi in the middle of the desert does not sound like a party I want to attend. Even, I mean, I wouldn't be able to attend it because I have to be here live streaming. Obviously, they're going to be watching it. It's only 22 degrees out. It's the middle of the night in the desert in the winter. And you've got 220 people standing there shivering watching this live stream on a single 11-inch laptop. It's a small laptop. But if they come that small, I don't know if they do come that small. Yeah. I want to share with you guys again one little bit of INFJ brilliance from years ago when my friend, and you can cop this for sure. You just go ahead, go right ahead and steal it. Use it yourself. Pretend you made it up. That's fine. Okay. Next time it's cold outside and you're with your family or friends or whatever, and there's a pause, there's a moment of silence, and a good time to say it, you go, wow, it's Goldilocks and the three birds. That was something Corey made up years ago. I just busted out laughing when he said it. Like, that is hilarious. You know, they're all standing still in the cold watching this live stream. This is it's a terrible, terrible party. Yeah, they don't have any water. All they have is porridge. It's a big, big vat of porridge. It's all they have in this party. It's a porridge party. Sarah Isaac P., you want to come to my porridge party? We're going to have porridge in the desert while watching a live stream on a laptop. It's going to be fantastic. All the porridge you can eat. I'm supplying all the porridge anybody can eat. I went to the porridge store and stocked up yesterday. I think another good name. I have another new business now. I like the idea of calling a business porridge, porridge, porridge. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point after each one. You know, porridge, porridge, porridge. What does it sell? Mostly porridge. Spacey, if that's you and not Tori, first of all, I'm not slandering anybody. Remember, slander requires a lie. I'm not telling lies. The thing I did yesterday was read Becky's emails that she sent to my father, are allowed on the internet. So I'm going to remove this comment and put you on timeout. Now, if you are Spacey and you need to start accepting some reality, your hateful girlfriend is incredibly hateful towards me in everything she says and everything she does. And there's no link whatsoever to reality of that. So I know that's not how Spacey writes. That's almost certainly Tori. So yes, I don't say hateful things about people on the internet, and I don't slander people on the internet. And any accusation of me doing those things is false. I do hold people to account. And I do reveal the awfulness of people when they treat me in awful ways. And the lies of people when they lie about me. And that's perfectly okay. I know. I'm just trying to relax here, for God's sakes. I gotta play a song. So get out the that was brought into here. You can just sort of smell the toxicity on that one, you know? Thank you. I don't understand why people lie. If you want to have my respect, all you got to do is be a little bit humble, yeah. Acknowledge where you fucked up too. I'll reciprocate, 'cause how about you? None of us is perfect after all. You Shoot, Cloud, you're not the CEO of Google. You're not. I checked. I checked all the documentation I could find. We judged all the reasons. We both decided that she was just all right. We judged all the reasons. Yeah, we decided that she was just all right. Caught her helping little orphan children. Then we caught her hanging out with the boys. Got her helping little orphan children. And then we saw her hanging out with the boys. We judged all the real, and we decided that she was just all right. We judged all the real, and we decided that she was just all right. Let's go, girl. That's the only song really that I can think of. But no, maybe okay. That's a song that I used to play. I played the guitar for it only. I didn't sing it. But in my very first band called Puppy Bus that I was in, my friend Dave, who was not a very good singer, was the singer. And I was just the guitarist. And that was one of the songs we played. That was one of the songs I liked that we played more. I liked that one more than some of the other ones. I like this one too. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but we used to play it super fast. When I was younger, I saw them going into bars. They sure looked lost to me, but time wasn't on that far. How does it go? When I was younger, I saw them going in the bars. They sure looked lost to me, but time wasn't on that far when I was going with them. Don't know who it is playing, but now many of the bartenders address me by my name and said, that's one of our songs we used to play. It's hard to play. That one, I remember, it's like we would go so fast, as fast as we could possibly play it. Way too fast, But, we were young and wanted to be all fast, I guess. I don't know. This is a cover. Between Marx and marzipan in the dictionary, there was Mary. Between the deep blue sea and the devil, that was me. If ever anyone could help me with my obsession with the young Susanna Yore, it was Mary. My pink pajamas, she asked for something, I gave her the short answer. That's Billy Bragg. This is also Billy Bragg. It may have been Camelot for Jack and Jacqueline, but on the shake over a highway, filling up with gasoline. Fidel Castro's brother spies a rich lady who's crying over luxury's disappointments, and he goes over and he's trying to sympathize with her, but he thinks that he should warn her that the third world is just around the corner. It's a cool little. I'm the drink pavilion, and the only noise I hear is the sound of someone stacking chairs and mopping up spilled beer, and someone asking questions and basking in the light of the 15 filled minutes with the fanzine writer. One step forward, two step back, where politics give me the rack, waiting for the great leap forwards. Commie, Billy Bragg, Commie, Pinko Commie. Such a great songwriter, though. I mean, that's not always, but isn't that a great song? Isn't that an awesome song? The way, like, just the whole way, the way it just rolls along, like this part, you know. May have been Camelot for Jack and Jacqueline, but on the shake before. It's great. It's great. What a great song. What a great, like, yeah. It just NIs together, like, so satisfying. NI is so satisfying. It's the most satisfying thing ever. It's like when things fit and work and are right and they're good and yeah. You know? Yeah, he's got some really killer songs. This is probably my favorite Billy Bragg song to play. I'm going to play it now. No. That's not what I want to do. I want to do this. Pew, pew, pew. I want to do that. Pew, pew, pew. Duplicate. This tab. Duplicate it. All right. This is probably my very favorite Billy Bragg song to play. One of my favorite ones to listen to. I don't really listen to him very much. He's more like a guy I play his songs. He's got a really weird production style. He tends not to have drums in his songs for some reason. I'm not sure why he produces things like that, but anyway, this is one of my very favorite ones of his songs. One of them's off her food and the other one's off his head, and both of them are off down the boozer to drink a toast to the one that he hates most, and she says there are no winners, only losers. Well, if there are no winners, then what is this he thinks as he watches her complete a lap of honor And he sits in the stands with his head in his hands, and he thinks of all the things he'd like to bring down upon her. Revenge will bring cold comfort in this darkest hour, as the jukebox says it's all over now. And he stands and he screams, what have I done wrong? I've fallen in love with a little time bomb. I've fallen in love with a little time bomb. In public he's such a man, he's punching at the walls with his bare and bloody hands. He's screaming and shouting, acting crazy. Oh, he sits at home and he cries like a baby. Well, he holds your letters but he can't read them as he fights this loneliness that you call freedom. You said this wouldn't happen to me. We're not wrong, I've fallen in love with a little time bomb. I've fallen in love with a little time bomb. That's a really good song. Really well-written song. Yeah. He's got some really depressing songs too. But like Valentine's Day is Over is a very sad song. It's one of the saddest songs. I used to, when I was sort of being emo teen, I'd listen to that and feel like somehow it related to me, even though it doesn't at all. Yeah, here we go. World's saddest song. If you want to talk about, okay, if you can think, what is the saddest song you can think of? This would qualify, this would fit into the category, be a finalist for sure. Someday, boy, you'll reap what you've sown. You'll catch a cold and you'll be on your own. And you will see that what's wrong with me is wrong with everyone that you want to play your little games on. Poetry and flowers, pretty words and threats. You've gone to the dogs again, and I'm not placing bets on you coming home tonight, anything but blind. If you take me for granted, then you must expect to find surprise, surprise. Valentine's Day is over, it's over. Valentine's Day is over, over. If you want to talk about it, well, you know where the phone is. Don't come around reminding me again how brittle the bone is. God didn't make you an angel, the devil made you a man. The brutality and the economy are related now, I understand. When will you realize that as above, so below, there is no love? Valentine's Day is over, it's over. Valentine's Day is over, it's over. It's hard. This is a hard song to play. I actually don't think I've played this song before. For the girl with the hourglass figure, time runs out very fast. We used to want the same things, but that's all in the past. And lately it seems that as it all gets tougher, your idea of justice just becomes rougher and rougher. It's at the very top of my vocal range too. I can't really get up there right now. My voice is kind of shot. It's a great song though. bad timing and me. We find a lot of things out this way. And there's you, a little black cloud in a dress. The temptation to take the precious things we have apart to see how they work must be resisted, for they never fit together again. If this is rain, let it fall on me and drown me. If these are tears, let them fall. Must I paint you a picture about the way that I feel? You know my love for you is strong, girl. You know my love for you is real. He took a short walk and a talk to change the rules of engagement, while you searched frantically for reverse. And then claiming that virtue never tested is no virtue at all. And so I lost my ignorance, and now the bells across the river chime out your name. I look again to run to them again. Must I paint you a picture about the way that I feel? You know you are for is real, girl. Yeah, again, it's top of my range. A little bit high, hard to sing. It's a good picture. It's a good song. It's a good song. Okay. Thanks for being here, Anchor Jason Blood. I'm sorry I didn't give as much attention as I should have to your fourth slot FI question, which deserves more of an answer. Fourth slot FI is interesting. ESTJs love their families. You know? It's a Sunday morning now. Time to get up. Have myself eggs Benedict, mimosas and stuff. Sunday is a day for brunch. It's a day for lunch as well, and for munching lots of crunchy croutons. Oh, happy Sunday, welcome to my live stream. Oh, happy Sunday again. If you think Monday will be a better day, then I guess you'd better just think again. Boom, boom, boom. Through the jungle, it's called. Through the jungle and to the woods, to grandmother's blouse I go. Open your blouse, grandmother. I'm here to breastfeed. All right, don't rush me. I'm here to breastfeed on grandmother? Yeah. Is she here? Okay, what will I play? What will I play? I know what I'll play. I'll play today. How about oh, I know. I'm gonna play that. What? An hour ago, though everybody said, hey, wait, no, she wouldn't live, she wouldn't meow. Already, man, meow, 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 meow. I can't remember how to play that song. It's a really good song. It's a song I wrote about ENTP female Brittany and this big drama that went down a couple years ago. And it tells a big long story. It's kind of too long of a song because it tries to get in this whole story. But I can't remember how to play it. I need to write it down. Basically, I don't have it. I mean, I can remember how to play it, but I can't remember the words. And it's not down. I don't have it in my repertoire right now. And then there's this is a rhythm that I have a song for, but I can't sing and play at the same time. Knows if I want it, mine if I want that too. Not to be wanted. Not sure if it's something that you can do. I know you told me. I know you told me whatever you can. Yeah, I can't sing the song properly. It's not supposed to have that rhythm because the rhythm of the guitar part and the vocals don't exactly align right. Sarah, why do you want to insult me? Why do you want to you might as well just tell me I'm a worthless turd underneath the foot of a heel of a turd stomping boot. That's what you might as well just tell me. I'm never going to play that song again. If you think that sounds like Dave Matthews, I'm never playing that song again. I'm throwing that away. That does not deserve to exist anymore. part of that too. That's Carl's Had Enough. Carl's Had Enough. It's another one I can't play and sing. It's got kind of a similar rhythm, you know. What's this one called, Sarah? And I'll make the lyrics accordingly. Okay, cool. Don't mess with Jim. He's at it again. Mess with Jim. Makes you in for a bit. I recall when Jim arrived and everybody said our lives are so much better now that Jim is here. Jim, I won't be messing with you again. Not this time. Remember when I got put in my place by Jim? And now again, I won't be messing with him. Oh, Jim, you scare me. You're intimidating too. You're quite a character, Jim. I wouldn't want to mess with you. Oh, yeah, Jim. Bob came around, he thought he'd mess with Jim. Got his face punched and then he thought again. Jim's badass, don't fuck with him. Jim will mess you up again. If you think Jim's a pussy, you are wrong. Oh, Jim, I love you secretly. I think you've got the two most handsome knees. You seem to have a wonderful way with honeybees. That's why, Jim, I'm asking you, please show me your ways with honeybees one of these beautiful days. Oh yeah, Jim. Don't mess with him. He's Jim. Jim. You're a man of wonderful things. Oh, Jim, you're been to every place you wanted to go. Jim. Is it? Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, baby. I love you with my emotions. I love you with my emotions, I should say. Problem that you can't endure. Yes, I'm so sure it's not appropriate claiming blinking on sky. Despite getting caught, he's got you refraining from him. I can't remember how to play that song. I gotta learn how to play that song well. It's a great song. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, but I can't play it. And it's not that difficult to play. So I just need to practice that one, basically. Certain songs I practice a lot more than others, because I would know how to play them or something. I think, the other night I played this one, and somebody said, I can't believe you still play that, even though you're out of that relationship, some FI person. But this is one of I'm really proud of this song. I think it's one of my most well-written songs, actually. You come outside, your arms are folded. I'm getting scolded for playing again. I wanna be as much as I can in terms of a man you want me to be. I got to do what I got to do. I'll include you in everything that I can. 'Cause I'm your man and you're my girl. I mean my woman in the world. You are the one I will be with till my dying day. I want your belief. You want my attention. I've got invention going again. And I want to be as much as I can in terms of a man you want me to be. But Kimberly, please don't be mad at me. Though I made this song, 'cause I'm your man and you're my girl. I mean my woman in the world. You are the one I will be with till my dying day. 'Cause I'm your man and you're my girl. I mean my woman in the world. You are the one I will be with till my dying day. Obviously, my song was lying. I have to admit that. I wrote a lying song. I was not with Kimberly till my dying day. I didn't mean to be lying when I wrote that song, but I was lying. It turns out that the one I was going to be with till my dying day was not named Meow 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 Meow. It's named Rachel Lapalosa. It rhymes with Pachel Papaposa. Just outside, but just don't tell. My name's Eileen, go to hell. I'm not taking any more of your smell. Go away right now. Chaos is a ladder. Chaos is a ladder to what? Thank you, Tatum. I appreciate it. You're a wonderful friend. I'm going to play a song I play probably more often. Well, I'll play this one. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a pot to get the margarine to tasty spots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business, thinking now about what he'll call Christmas when they hire his firm to change that name. Gerald always thought that there'd be chancing up to return to the work left rough. He'd be back to it eventually, but his visions piled up and his plans would interrupt all it off, so hopefully. And now his mind is back on his business, thinking of changing fact list to listless. So how all the people may shout his name. And Gerald knows he understands ever more serious now. He won't provide explanation regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting, Gerald knows your heart. And Gerald still knew there's too much to do. And he'll drive time in the underview. Too much to rebut. Now, where, now, and what? Too much time spent picking this view with you. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get to Marjorie's tasty spots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business, thinking now about what to call Christmas when they hire his firm to play that name. And Gerald knows he understands ever more serious now. He won't provide explanation regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting, Gerald plays his part. Gerald has a thought. Wow. I think that's about the best I've ever played that song. I didn't fuck up at any part of it, ever. I mean, I didn't fuck up any part of it. I always fuck up something. I actually played that song properly. Like for the first time ever, maybe. I always fuck up something. I always like forget part of the bridge or, it's like I nailed it. Thanks, JL. And you are correct that is a well put together song. I agree with you. Not all my songs are nearly that well put together. And I appreciate you recognizing that fact that one is unusually well put together. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a great song just sort of gels, and sometimes it never does. It's you have to have, I guess, conscious NI to be able to tell whether or when it's going to work out, Thanks, Sarah ISFP. Well, I know where I'm going. I'm going to Google Docs. So I really enjoyed playing this song last time I was playing songs. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play it more slowly, though, this time. Like last time I played this one fast, and I played Destruction of the Whole Damn World slow. This time I'll play this one slow and Destruction fast. Sammy has a story that need be told. This is a song for an open road, and such a thing must always do its job. She married up Jeff, turned 19, 4 years and 3 kids weaned. Weary now and questioning the path. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our courses way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Everybody's panicked about the kids. Ooh, ah, lock them up with extra Dexedrine and mathematics to produce success, or impose more on just duress. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our courses. Way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Doug at 20 thought bourbon fun, life wide Doug at 21, and so forth well up into middle age. But once that seemed to set him free, became his whole identity. Now Doug's about another drunken rage. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our courses. Way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression. Offer you incentives, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Everybody's panicked about the kids. Ooh, ah, lock them up with extra dexedrine. Ooh, ah, mathematics to produce success, or impose more unjust duress. Agency outpaces discretion, locked in our courses. Way too young. Significance is really just projection. They'll offer you incentives, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Without consent, it's really just oppression. By parasites surviving on their wages earned by lying, while they feed their fear of dying. Yeah, let's feed upon the futures of the young. It's a little too slow. That's true. It's a little too slow. Too slow for Flo. Too slow for Mo, but not too slow for Joe and the Ho. Joe and the Ho. A hilarious new one-act play romp through hilarity. I like to romp hilariously. Okay, I'm going to play another song here. I'm going to play Destruction of the Whole Damn World. Yeah, I'm going to play that one now, JL. I'm going to play it a little quicker than I did yesterday, but hopefully not laser fast because then it doesn't really go that good. Thanks, El Lobo. We need to know. We need to see. We need to pen happenings down by our means to judge a logic to life we divisively unlike, from which we'll rarely budge. People everywhere gather up, enemies outrage that how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting causes directory, we offend such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Judy shares now her limits, hoping Julie will too. Jerry shares for 4 minutes. He just can't share things like they do. Julie always thought that she should have bought too when she had the chance to buy. And Julie soon forgot about should and not, although she ever recall. People everywhere gather up, enemies outrage that how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck in such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Boom! Explosion! Are you explosive with explosions? If you eat a lot of lit matches, don't also eat a lot of dynamite. It's a good advice. What's F diminished? Wow. So this. Okay, that's fine. I love coffee. I love coffee. I love tea. I love the jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the jiving and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. I love Java, sweet and hot. Well, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee pot. Shoot me the pot and I'll pour me a shot. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh, slip me a slug from that wonderful mug, and I'll cut a rug till I'm stuck in the jug. Slice of onion and a raw one. Draw one. Waiter, waiter, percolator. I love coffee. I love tea. I love the jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the jiving and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. It's kind of a fun song. Here's another fun song. Ooh, I know what else I want to play. All right, here we go. I had a match, but she had a lighter. I had a flame, but she had a fire. I was bright, but she was much brighter. I was high, but she was the sky. Oh, baby, I was bound for Mexico. Oh, baby, I was bound to let you go. I don't know much about Cinco de Mayo. I'm never sure what it's all about. But I say I want you and you don't believe me. You say you want me, but I've got my doubts. Oh, baby, I was bound for Mexico. Oh, baby, I was bound Mexico by Cake. I'm going to play another Cake song now. And the song will be called Perhaps, Perhaps, Perhaps. I haven't played this in a long time. It's a great song. Yeah. You won't admit you love me. You won't admit you love me. And how am I ever to know? You always tell me. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Alright, here we go. You won't admit you love me. So how am I ever to know? You always tell me. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. A million times I've asked you, and then I'll ask you over again. You only answer perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. If you can't make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't want to wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, girl, confess. And please don't tell me. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. If you can't make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't want to wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, girl, confess. And please don't tell me. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. It's an old Mexican song, interestingly. My fingers kind of hurt. I think I need a little break from the guitar. They're feeling a little bit pushed down so much, you know. Cloud, you love me with all your heart? What a coincidence. Because I love you with all my heart as well. That is amazing. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing piece of amazement. I was thinking about to play Spud Brow Spree. That's a good song to learn, you know. The courteous potato men politely sell potato skins as beards to wear upon the chins of everyone with cash to spend. Potato beards is a distinguished one, and also I can't remember. Yeah, thank you. Please do chat amongst yourselves. If you run out of things to talk about, just somebody whistle from over here, and I'll throw out a topic. Okay. It's raining. How wonderful. look good. You guys, I got some bad news. When I was outside, I contracted retardation virus. But look, you still have to like me the same. Whew, it passed. I'm okay again. Glad Rachel's throwing a wrench at you. I mean, what's she missing? Yeah. Sit down. You know, look, everybody, you need to lead, follow, or get out of the way. That was actually the problem in my last relationship. I had a partner who wouldn't lead, wouldn't follow, and was constantly getting in the way of any kind of growth and solution. In this relationship, Rachel and I understand when to lead, when to follow, when to get out of the way. We're learning when to get out of the way. Sometimes we get in each other's way, like not physically or even emotionally or mentally. Just we prevent the naturally smooth operation of us from happening with misunderstandings based on like fear or something. No need to slap rolls. Listen, every time I go to a restaurant and I order a dinner, before I accept my meal, I give that roll a good slap. And if it bounces a little bit, it's good. If it doesn't bounce enough, then it's stale and I want a new one. You have awesome sex with your INFJ girlfriend as an INTP. Best sex of your life? Well, yeah. It is raining. It is a little bit. Here's the thing, El Lobo Froze. A little secret. I got to, Alpha Quadra, Gamma Quadra, Delta Quadra. Let's all go get in the back seat together. Beta Quadra is the sexiest quadra, and they can have the front seat for that, okay? If you're going to hump somebody and you want to just be like, wow, you should hump Beta Quadra because they're the sexiest. It's just like, Beta Quadra is nothing but bam and bam. Yeah, it's barely raining. It's just it's wet outside. It was raining earlier. Here, let's show you the rain. And even though it's not a great deal of rain, I appreciate it because it's going to put a little bit more snowpack on the mountains, which is good for Southern California. And it's going to, oops, they're sinking. There. It's wet outside, This stuff here, like this stuff right here, is all like water, okay? You've got some drops of water right here. You've got some water on the ground. You've got drops of water here, all along here. This whole area has been made wet by the rain. You can see the water falling. Crazy shit. You think nature doesn't strike back? Look how wet it is. Nature strikes back. Okay. Another thing Cameron brought for me yesterday, because he's such a nice guy, is he brought me Mindy Club's new arms dealer, Corduroy. Now, the thing about corduroy, wherever I put him, is corduroy is actually a Lando Calrissian figurine. But in Mindy's Club world, he's not Lando Calrissian. He's dressed so normally. That's what I like about this Lando figurine. It was, not anymore. Last year we had a good year of rain. This is corduroy. Hi, I'm corduroy. I'm a professional arms dealer. I got a whole bag of little guns here. A whole bag of little guns. Would you like to buy a little gun from me? My name is Corduroy. The reason I'm named Corduroy, you can tell these are not denim pants. Even though there are no little lines on them, these are corduroy pants. And this shirt is also made of corduroy. I call myself corduroy because I only wear corduroy. So, what do you think? How do you like my new outfit? None of that's corduroy. Now, look. If you are interested in a fully automatic assault rifle, I, Corduroy, am the man to talk to. Because I have these coming out the wazoo. Look at that. I'm going to shoot your ass right now with this thing. So, you know, like yesterday when we stopped at the place where we were hiking. I mean, where we rode our bikes, but there's also a place where other people ride their bikes and hike, you know. And we stopped kind of near the path, and I started setting up all my little dolls on the rocks, and people would walk by, what is this guy doing, you know? But I think it's pretty obvious I was taking pictures or whatever, you know, once I got the camera out. But before I got the camera out, it looked like I was playing with dolls. That's okay. Obviously, Corduroy ended that whole thing pretty happy because he got on Tiffany. Of course, everybody gets on Tiffany. You know, she can't ever seem to find her clothes. Corduroy, where's his mom? Are you saying this old man here is more handsome than me? I'm Corduroy. I'm the handsomest man who's ever sold gold AK-47s before. I'm incredibly handsome. You want to doubt my handsomeness? Hey, pew, 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 pew. I'm holding this gold gun here, so you better watch out. I mean, how great are these little guns? Right? It's like, wow. And I think Cameron brought for me one time a long time ago, and I have it around here somewhere. Is the what's it called? It's called the Concert Mate or whatever, the Casio thing. I did sleep last night, by the way. I got a good 6 hours or so, which is nice. This is Hawindi. Hawindi and Mindy had a huge battle in Hawaii. Hawindi tried to hone in on Mindy's shit, you know. But in the end, Mindy pushed Hawindi into the ocean. Fortunately, a theretofore unnoticed mermaid showed up and saved her, but, you know. Rachel was there. Rachel saw the moment when Hawindi was brutally pushed into the ocean. I don't think this is a Barbie doll, is it? Is this a Barbie doll? I don't know what kind of doll this is. I do play with dolls. Here, I'll put my... I'll let, if you guys want to watch it, I'm going to put the link to Corduroy's gun dealings with Mindy. It's just a little 2.5 minute video that I freestyled yesterday in the woods. Mindy has a gun. Don't worry. Mindy has a good gun. The thing is, everybody's kind of agreeing that probably Tiffany shouldn't have a gun. That she really probably shouldn't be trusted with a gun. I kind of think it's unfair, but at the same time, I agree with them. It's like she's not really a very strong thinker. All right, girls. You want to know why I brought you out here to the woods?
With my new friend corduroy here. Well, yeah, good.
So if you're having a chance to watch it, you can see this 2.5 minute long video here where Mindy and the gang buy guns from Corduroy. It's true, not everything needs to be analyzed, but everything wants to be analyzed. And I would like to analyze everything. The only thing that doesn't need to be analyzed is how important it is to constantly analyze everything. Right now, I'm analyzing your words, and that's too definitive a statement, El Lobo Feroz. Not everything needs to be analyzed. It may or may not be the case that some things may or may not need to be analyzed some of the time. It's the most definitive thing we can say about it, okay? There you are again, making crazy statements, El Lobo Feroz. I think people, you think, what is that, your opinion, your feelings? I think people rely too much on stereotypes. You got something wrong with stereo? Is that your audio in mono or what? Not all. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. All ENTPs are geeks, El Lobo Feroz. Like you're a geek. You're a geeky nerd. You're a nerdy geek. Overanalyze. Right. Would you like it, El Lobo Feroz, if I followed you around in life and just did that to everything you said? Wouldn't that be fun? You're like, okay, yeah, so I need to talk to the bank manager about... Oh, right, yeah, you do. Who is this guy who follows you around, El Lobo Feroz? Oh, he's my negator. He negates everything I say and do. You don't think FI people should go with FE people? I agree with you, Cloud. I think an FI-FE relationship is a recipe for alabaster. Virtue doesn't last long in the state of disaster. Like, there's a song called Virtue Doesn't Last Long in the State of Disaster. It's an old song from my first album, the only album that I actually have formally released. I actually have one album that's formally released. You can find some of my earliest songs on like your various services. But it's not really a very good album at all. It's juvenilia in some sense. Like I was learning how to play music. Yeah, never again date anyone with FI, Elizabeth B. Milburn. I dated someone with FI, my first wife. No more FI. Well, actually, I did eventually sort of date briefly in ISFP. And that was kind of juicy, but it wouldn't have lasted at all. You know, it was juicy in an experiential sense. Like, you know, well, in that particular instance, it's because I'd always wanted to get on that chick. So when I finally did, it was like, fuck yeah, I totally win. You know, I've wanted to get on this chick for like 20 years. So that's cool. One of her problems is she had big teeth that stick out. Like that. I mean, she doesn't look weird or anything. She looks pretty or whatever, but she has large teeth that kind of go outwards a little bit. You can imagine what sort of, you know, that's why she, you know. I didn't like that aspect of things, I guess. You created this personality especially for me. It can change any second now. Is the personality I'm supposed to have, or is the personality you have? An ENTP stereotype? Okay. Okay, that's fair. That's right. That's good and true. Agree. I agree with you. I disagree. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm confused. You've completely ruined everything now, El Lobo. I don't know if I'm agreeing or disagreeing. I just know that everybody's wrong, including me, and nobody's wrong except me, and everybody's wrong but me. I just know those three things. To debate just because of it. See, this is the thing. There may be some ESPs who debate just because of it. My friend and former debater and excellent now debate coach and head coach of Immaculate Heart, David Dosh, who I saw in Berkeley, and it was wonderful to see him. And in fact, I want to put a picture I took of him and his sister up and me up on the YouTube community tab because I'm so proud of it. You know, you want to talk about FI? I am FIing the literal fuck out of those people. David Dosh, when he was like 18 or 19, going to UC Berkeley, I went up there and visited him and smoked weed with him and stuff. And yeah, once he turns 18, then he's a friend. He's no longer a former student or whatever, because he and I always got along well. And man, was he negationary. Every single thing I said, he'd correct in some fashion. Well, actually, and then I pointed it out to him, like, Dosh, are you aware you're doing this? You're being pretty textbook E&P. Because at that point, I was into typology a little bit. It's like I was starting the channel and stuff. And then of course he's grown up since then some, and he coached his sister to being the single best LD debater in the country. Like, if you just Google Danielle Dosh, you'll see Danielle Dosh wins Greenhill. Danielle Dosh had like shit tons of TOC bids, most TOC bids ever before. She didn't win TOC, but she was probably the best debater in the country. The debater who has the most TOC bids is really the best debater in the country. Who wins TOC? There's a lot of crap sheet in there. No, DOSCH. DOSCH. Of course, my autocorrect on my phone would always try to correct it to douche. It's unfortunate. If your name's Dosh, DOSCH. All right. So look, Frank James, I know you don't watch my videos, but I'm going to pretend you're watching this right now. Go ahead, fly to East Germany, hang out with Eileen, see how it goes. If you like her and she likes you, I will marry you on the internet. I'll be the presiding officer. I've been licensed by all licenses all the time to marry anybody anytime I want, even if they don't cooperate with it. I could legally marry Lobo Feroz and Dark Phoenix right now, but I'm responsible, so I choose not to. Frank James is a bad actor. You mean he's not good at acting, or he's a bad actor? Like he's taking bad actions. Oh, you're saying he's not doing a good job of acting? Okay, well, that's a fair critique. I think actually he's quite a good actor. Although I would call him an actress, I think. I will marry you to somebody other than me if you'd like, Vincent Vaughn. Would you like me to marry you to Mattia Sanchez? I could do that. I could marry you to my cat, at which point you'd be a sister wife. Since Pee-Pee, my cat, is a sister wife, you'd be a wife to the cat. So you'd be sort of like sister wife once removed. I don't know if that's okay. What's wrong with FI and FE together? Well, what's wrong with it is this. There's anything wrong with it. FI wants what it wants. So let's say that, like, for example, this. When I went to Hawaii, I had one thing that I really actually wanted to do there. One specific thing that I knew that I wanted to do. And that was recreate the picture of me and Delilah that we took at the luau at the King Kamehameha when Delilah was like 3 years old. Okay. Now, my dad didn't want to go to that luau because it was further away. He wanted to go to the luau in his hotel so he didn't have to drive anywhere. Okay. Now, an FI person would be like, I don't care if my request was unreasonable and a hassle or whatever. The one thing I wanted was to go to the King Cam for that luau, and I didn't get what I wanted, so I'm upset. That's FI. FI might point out, look, I'm not even asking for anything else. I just want this one thing. So it doesn't matter if it inconveniences all of you and it's a bad idea. Because it's the one thing I want, everybody should let me have that, because, and then the rest of the time you guys get what you want, because I don't really care about those other things. That's FI. The problem is TIFE goes, well, who cares what you want? The thing is, what makes sense for the group? You know, you want to go to that luau for this very specific reason. That's not a good enough reason to go to that luau. We need to go to the luau that's closer and more convenient for everybody. We don't want to drive over there. We don't want to have to deal with the parking. And now, actually, it was just my dad who thought these things, not me. But no, but the thing is, in reality, my dad was being FI selfish, but also TI legitimate, because his reasonings were correct. That this luau made more sense. And my FI is polar, so I don't really care. It just is the one thing I thought about I wanted to do, but if I don't get to do it, I don't care. I know what I don't like more than I know what I do like. So, well, I mean, FI is the stubbornness function. It says, I don't care what's fair. I don't care what you say. I don't care, blah, 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 blah. This is what is important to me. So I have to, in order to properly manifest myself, I need to prioritize what's important to me. And this is true for everybody. But FI users expect everybody to do that same approach. Whereas FE users, they're like, be a team player is rule number one. FI users, be true to yourself is rule number one. So there's going to be a fundamental conflict in what's the priority here between FI and FE users. In any instance, it's going to be like, it's going to come down to the FI going, this is what's important. And the FE user going, this is what's being a good team player. And that's what's important. And no, that's not important to me. Well, too bad. That's what's important to me and everybody else. Well, too bad, because I'm me and not everybody else. And there's no real bridge area there, you know? All extroverted types are more evil and impulsive and destructive by that logic. Oh, are you trying to argue with Cloud El Lobo Furrows? When your head gets sore from banging it against that wall, feel free to stop. FE is cool, but not INFP compatible. And the thing is, people think FE is all about, other people's feelings. Well, it is, but it's really about being a team player. That's the best way to argue. That's the best way to explain what FE is and where it conflicts with FI and with TE. Being a good team player from an FE perspective means demonstrating cooperativeness and a desire to have things go smoothly without a lot of right? Anonymous Random Zero has asked a question that, thank you, Winston's mom, for answering, but your answer makes me want to see what the question is. What is this live stream about? Or FI? Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember. So I answered the second part of that. Are FI users stubborn to learning? Well, FI doesn't necessarily have to be about learning. It's that when somebody who's not an FI user, somebody who's like FI polar like me, is in their FI and acting out according to their FI, that's when they get extremely stubborn. Because, and an FI polar person like me shouldn't be driving the decision making with FI. But sometimes people are who have FI polar. And when they do, they make bad decisions. As was demonstrated yesterday by my Canadian whirlwind. She was in her FI and making bad decisions, been doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down. And it's obviously it's something she's going to wake up this morning and regret a lot, because it made her look really bad and backfired, blew up in her face. She wanted to get me by exposing my secrets to my dad, but I really don't have any secrets, and my dad didn't even care about any of those things that she was saying about me, except the lawsuit thing. It's the only thing he made any note of at all, really. So, when we watched basketball last night, he made such a concerted effort to be very pleasant and chatty and not mention any of that shit. It's like he wanted to make sure I understood that, I wasn't going to get shit about this, which is great. Tatum, if your heart is broken, you might turn into scary INFP. I just might. Yes, you would. The thing is this, Tatum. There's something weird about it. Look, I've dated an INFP before, and INFPs understand and respect bad behavior because of FI. Like, if I'm screaming because I'm being super paranoid that you might be cheating, that's a good sign of love to an INFP. I mean, they don't want screaming, but they're perfectly fine with you being hella jealous. That's what love is to them, It's possessive. FI is very possessive. The most FI person in the world is Gollum with that ring. He's always going, my precious, oh my God, this thing is so great. I love it. So I lick it. And yeah, that's FI. But it's important for us all to have FI. Obviously, things have to be important to us. Things have to matter, or else life would be pointless and stupid. Like a couple of days ago, I couldn't get a hold of Rachel because she slept in. And I was all like, what's she doing? Where is she? What is she up to? Oh my God. She's out there. She's out in an alley having sex with dozens of men. It's like, that's FI. It's insane. I say to myself, Eric, what possible reason would you think these things? Like, there's that is a completely illogical conclusion to draw. You have every reason to trust Rachel, no reason to distrust her. You guys are in love. Everything's perfect. Why would these thoughts even cross your mind? It was Corduroy. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I am intimidated by Corduroy. He is one handsome man, and he's got excellent taste in clothing. But, that's just a moment of FI. For me, with FI Polar, when I feel how strongly I value Rachel, I go into resource protection mode. It's another way of transferring from FI to SI. And, that guy I typed the other night, whatever his name was, well, I'm sure she would if she were going to, but in my jealousy rage, I recognize the fact she doesn't really have any time to cheat because we're always talking to each other and stuff, and it makes no sense at all. So like the only way I can even conceive of it is like she's gone for a walk and some guy's like, "Hey, come here," and she goes, "Okay." For some reason, it's like you try to come up with some kind of scenario in which it's theoretically possible for them to be cheating, and of course, the best thing to do is just remember. Just because I love somebody doesn't mean I need to treat them as a resource that I have to archive away and protect. My FI is not SI, Right, yeah. We both have this tendency to slip into our FI for a moment and shake it off and sort of remind each other, hey, you're just being FI silly. But an FI user respects that. They're like, I respect those strong feelings. A TIFE user goes, come on now, you're being silly. We don't really respect those strong feelings when they're negative. We respect the positive stuff. We like the positive stuff. That's being a good team player. Being jealous does not mean a good team player, right? Okay, El Lobo Feroz, you had me bent over a log with a 7-foot long pepper grinder stuck up my ass. and a tennis ball gag in my mouth. I don't think it was you whose trust was abused, young man. You know, it took me like 45 minutes to towel off all the semen. You never told me that was going to happen. Spacey typed Countess. Good. Cool. I don't watch Spacey's channel, but I'm sure it's very interesting. Good for him. You know, a lot of people come and try to tell me, you know, Spacey's typing people for only $40. I don't care. Go for it. I wish him all the success in the world. I have nothing against Spacey. I like Spacey. I lament the way that Spacey was ripped from my life by malfeasance. Yeah, I know. Ketamine tends to make you a little rapey, El Lopo. I was asking for it. Based on what I was wearing, I was asking for it. Cool. Wow, you got connections, Cloud. You got the Overlord expert to type you for $0. That's fantastic. F.I. Love up in here. Yeah, baby. We got some F.I. loves going on. But there's nothing mysterious to a semen unless it be the sea itself, which is the mistress of his existence. Yep. Nothing mysterious to a semen except the sea itself and a bucket of man seed. I tell you, there's nothing quite as mysterious as a large bucket of man seed. I was. I can't help it. I got it. I got that. You know, I got that little wiggle to my walk. My ass cheeks just jiggle up and down a little bit, and you're just like, man, I got to have some of that. You're like, I'm in both the K-hole and the A-hole. Love you, Rachel. You head into the shower. Take off all of your clothes before getting into the shower. Remember that, okay? We've discussed this before. That's the perfect day for El Lobo for Rose involves being in both the K-hole and the A-hole. I said, don't forget to take off your clothes before getting in the shower, Rachel. We've discussed this before. Your TE polar, you know, with Rachel, she's just as likely to have herself completely showered and done and then realize, oh, I left my clothes on. That's TE polar. I'm always trying to help you with your TE polar, baby. I know how hard order of operations are for you. Anyway, I may be the one who's been tired, but you're the one that's being done. It's an excellent expression. One of the more, like, I guess, deeply offensive things or something that I've ever been a part of is this song that Corey and I freestyle made up. Or Corey basically made up most of the words, and I was playing the guitar, I think, and I contributed some words to it too. But the song is called National Rum on a Petard Day. You know, you could change the words in there. And it's a song about a national holiday for depositing man seed on certain subpopulace, you know. Pretty offensive song. Pretty hilarious too, frankly. I don't know what made me think of that, but you go out there, you get yourself a Hallmark card, you find a special school, and you let it all out. No. Okay. Love and hearts, heart and loves, loving farts, buys you gloves. I gotta see what time I work today. That's the thing. I'm not sure what time I work. I think I might work at 10. Don't forget to get your pot to be Scroll-tree free. You want to make sure you have scroll-tree free pasta. Where is my phone? There it is. What kind of text do I have? Yeah? Jeff's dad. 9:30. Confirmed. Okay, I got a split. Well, I got 10 minutes or so before I go split. I don't need a shower or anything, so it's Sunday morning. Your words hurt me physically. Now that's impressive. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can also break my bones. Is an interesting expression. Words can hurt, but they usually don't hurt you physically. I was afraid I was getting sick last night after not getting any sleep the night before. When I went to bed, I had a little bit of a sniffles, but after some good sleep, I feel fine, I would have slept more if a wet kitty hadn't basically prevented me from having any more sleep this morning with her craziness. So I opened the door. I hear the thing that says she wants to come in. I open the door. She come in, and she's totally wet from the rain. And normally cats manage to avoid actually getting wet, even when it's raining. She's like soaking wet. I don't know. She must have got caught in a downpour or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, then she came in. And I was like, okay, kitty, okay, fine. It's like 6 a.m, right? And I lie back down on my bed, and a wet kitty jumps up on my chest and starts pushing her wet face into my face. And will not stop until I get up and dry her off with paper towels and feed her more food. At that point, it's like, I'm not going back to sleep. I got wet kitty all over my face. No, Cloud, your gender's not ambiguous. It's ambivalent. It's ambivalent on most social issues. What is his or her true relation to words? Who? Cloud's a dude. A Lobo Froze. Cloud's a dude. He's a dude. You can tell because if you look between his legs, there's some stuff sticking out, kind of hanging, dangling down there. A couple different things. That's what distinguishes him from a girl. I don't know if you ever looked between a girl's legs. There's just nothing there. Just like this, just like smooth, just like that. Oh yeah, Cloud, I do. I love to see what's between your legs when what's between your legs is something I want to look at. Now, it really depends on what you have between your legs, though, Cloud. At the moment, you've got a tuna sandwich between your legs, and I don't really want to look at that. Thanks, Eileen. That's nice. I appreciate that. It made me feel good. I'm conscious of my own words. Oh, Cloud is. Yeah, Cloud is TI polar, so he doesn't care about contradictions. He thinks that it's dumb, to care about words and contradictions. He's basically playing the character that I sometimes play, which is the guy who caught retardation from a virus and now is explaining to everybody else, I may be the one who's retarded, but you're the one who's being dumb. I wish there would be a public service announcement with that, That is such a hilarious public service announcement, It's the sort of thing that they would have had in the 80s. They're just so stupid in the 80s, right? They would have had some sort of special ed kid who gets on camera and is a public service, be nice to everybody. And he goes, I'm going to be the one who's retarded, but you're the one who's being dumb. You can just picture it. And it's just like, whoever made this thing has just no sense of how shit's going to actually play out. It's like, I don't know if any of you guys remember him or were around when he was around, but there's this guy before named Kestrel who told me about a similar sort of campaign in Britain that occurred that made this special kids PSA thing. It created this whole raft of jokes about that just because of its ridiculousness. So it's like created this sort of humor that it was trying to suppress, and that's FI over FE. When you create the kind of humor you're trying to suppress, you're acting with your FI and not with your FE. When you pull a Barbra Streisand, what was it that Barbra Streisand wanted to suppress? She wanted to suppress some particular thing, piece of information, and her efforts to suppress it caused it to become more and more visible. That's FI acting. TI doesn't do that when it's not consumed, when it's not overwhelmed by FI. There was something else I wanted to Google that my dad mentioned last night. The Heidi incident. The Heidi incident. He was talking about this time, apparently in the 70s or something, where a football game was on. And Heidi game. I Googled the Heidi incident, and here it is. In 1968, a game between the Oakland Raiders and New York Jets. It was notable for its exciting finish, in which Oakland scored 2 touchdowns in the final minute of the game to win it 43-32. It got its name for a decision by the game's television broadcaster, NBC, to break away from its coverage of the game on the East Coast to broadcast the television film Heidi, causing many viewers to miss the Raiders' comeback. NBC's switchboards were jammed by viewers phoning to inquire, preventing the planned change from being communicated. But let's see. NBC executives originally ordered that Heidi begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but then decided to allow the game to air its conclusion. However, communicating this revised plan to the technicians running NBC's master control proved impossible. As 7 p.m. approached, NBC switchboards were jammed by viewers phoning to inquire about the night's schedule, preventing the planned change from being communicated. Heidi began as scheduled, preempting the final moments of the game and the 2 Oakland touchdowns in the eastern half of the country to the outrage of viewers. NBC received further criticism for its poor timing in displaying the final score of the game during the Heidi movie. NBC's president formally apologized for the incident. In the aftermath of the incident, NBC installed special Heidi phones with a connection to a different telephone exchange from other network phones to ensure that network personnel could communicate under similar circumstances. The game also had an influence on sports broadcasting practices. The future NFL would contractually stipulate that all game telecasts be shown to their conclusion in the markets of the visiting team, while other major leagues and events adopted similar mandates. In 1997, the Heidi game was voted the most memorable regular season game in pro football history. I never even heard of it until my dad mentioned it last night. Everyone is their own reality. There's another way you can put it, Cloud. Anyway, I gotta go. Gotta go to work. Start half hour earlier than I thought. Yeah, no one recorded shit back then. There wasn't any VCRs. There wasn't any DVRs. There wasn't even Betamax in '68. You'd have to have had one of those super old school 16 millimeter cameras and film the TV. Okay, so thanks for being here, everybody. I do have to go to work now, and that's not a bad thing. Get me moving, get me productive on something. And after work, I'll be back, and I'll probably live stream again, or we'll see what happens. Talk to you later. Walk and oh, whoa.